The divorce papers sit on the mahogany desk between them like a body neither wants to claim. Sign them, Naomi says, and her voice doesn't shake. She's proud of that. Across from her, Kang Jae-won doesn't move. His fingers rest beside the documents, perfectly still, but she sees the tendon jumping in his jaw. The scar above his left eyebrow, the one she knows he got from a rival gang at 17, catches the afternoon light. No, he says simply. The year's up. Contract's fulfilled. Your family got their merger. I got, she stops. Got what? Money she hasn't touched? A year of living in a gilded cage with a man who watches her like she might vanish? You got nothing you actually needed, he finishes. That's the problem. 14 months earlier, the hospital cafeteria smells like disinfectant trying to mask itself as food. Naomi pushes her salad around the plastic container, calculating. Rent due in 3 days. Mom's nursing home needs payment. Student loans. Credit cards maxed for mom's medications before the Alzheimer's diagnosis, when Naomi was still trying to manage everything from Atlanta via desperate phone calls. Moving to Seoul for the international caregiver program was supposed to fix everything. Better pay. Free housing. Except the program fell through 2 months in. Visa issues, they said. Budget cuts, they meant. And now she's working under the table as a home health aide. Barely legal, definitely not enough. You look like you're contemplating murder or suicide. Either way, bad cafeteria choice. She glances up. The man standing there with a coffee shouldn't exist in a hospital cafeteria at 2 a.m. Designer suit that probably costs more than her car did. Face that could sell anything. Sharp cheekbones, full mouth. Eyes so dark they look black in the fluorescent lighting. Korean, late 20s, and carrying himself like he owns the building. He probably does. I'm fine, she says automatically. You're Naomi Turner. You care for Mrs. Kim in 7 West. You sing to her. Old jazz standards. Yesterday, it was At Last. She hasn't spoken in 3 months, but she smiled. Naomi's spine straightens. How do you? Mrs. Kim is my great aunt. He sits without invitation. My name is Kang Jae-won. I run a logistics company. The way he says logistics makes it sound like a threat. I'm sorry for your aunt's condition, Naomi says carefully. She's a lovely woman. She dies in 6 days. He says it clinically, like reading a shipping manifest. Brain tumor. Terminal. The family knows. I know because I pay for the best doctors to tell me uncomfortable truths. I'm so sorry. I need a wife. He cuts through her condolences like they're irrelevant. Temporary. 1 year. My family won't finalize a business merger until I demonstrate stability and traditional values. Their words. I need someone trustworthy. Someone with no connections to Seoul's business community. Someone who needs money badly enough to sign an airtight NDA. Naomi stands. I'm not. 200 million won. Up front. Another 200 when the year completes. He slides a business card across the table. You clear your mother's debts, set up her care indefinitely, and walk away with enough to start over anywhere you want. The number makes her dizzy. That's almost 350,000 US dollars. Why me? Because you treated my aunt like she was your own family. Because you're kind without expecting recognition. Because you're honest. I had you investigated, Miss Turner. You're precisely what you appear to be. His expression shifts, something almost vulnerable flickering across it. That's rare in my world. Precious, even. What's your world exactly? One where logistics means I move things people don't want moved. Where family businesses are built on blood and maintained through fear. Where a wife is a chess piece unless she's smart enough to be a player. You're telling me you're a criminal. I'm telling you I'm honest about what I am. The contract will be legal. The marriage will be real, on paper. You live in my home. Attend family functions, play the role. In exchange, you get financial freedom and my protection. Protection from what? His smile doesn't reach his eyes. From anyone who thinks they can use you against me. She should walk away. Should run. Instead, she hears herself ask, if I said yes, what happens next? You finish your shift. Tomorrow, you meet with my lawyer. 3 days from now, we marry in a private ceremony. Your mother's care is handled before the ink dries. He stands. I'm not a good man, Naomi, but I keep my word. Always. He leaves the card. Leaves her sitting there with impossible choices. She works her shift. Holds Mrs. Kim's papery hand. Sings Unforgettable while the old woman's breathing rattles. At dawn, she calls the number. The wedding happens in a lawyer's office. No flowers. No music. Naomi wears a simple blue dress. Jae-won wears another devastating suit and slides a ring onto her finger, platinum band with a single black diamond. Family heirloom, he murmurs. Grandmother's. She'd approve of you. You don't know me. His fingers linger on hers. I know you stayed 2 hours past your shift 3 times last week. I know you eat salad for every meal to save money. I know you haven't called your mother because hearing her not remember you breaks your heart. His eyes meet hers. I know enough. The penthouse he brings her to overlooks the Han River, all glass and steel and cold perfection. Your room. He opens a door to a suite bigger than any apartment she's ever rented. We maintain separate spaces. The staff believes we're newlyweds, so appear happy when they're present. And when they're not, you're free to do whatever you want. Read. Study. The library's fully stocked. Just don't leave without telling me. That sounds like a prison. It's protection. Something fierce crosses his face. The contract starts now, Naomi. That means you're mine to protect. Not to own, to protect. There's a difference. He leaves her standing there, and she wonders what she's actually agreed to. The first month, Naomi barely sees him. Jae-won leaves before dawn, returns after midnight. Sometimes she hears him on the phone in his study, voice dropping into Korean so cold it feels like the temperature drops 10 degrees. Once, she wakes at 3 a.m. to find him standing by the living room window, bloody knuckles pressed against the glass. She gets up, gets ice, stands in front of him until he notices her. Let me see, she says quietly. He extends his hand like he's not sure why he's obeying. She wraps his knuckles carefully, her nursing training automatic. Occupational hazard? She asks. Something like that. His eyes track her face. You should be asleep. So should you. I don't sleep well. Why not? Because I'm responsible for 300 employees, $70 million in monthly operations, and a wife I'm trying very hard not to. He stops. Steps back. Thank you for the bandage. Go back to bed, Naomi. But she's already seen it. Whatever he cut himself off from saying. The way he looks at her like she's something breakable and infinitely precious. The family dinner happens in week 6. Stand beside me. Smile. Let me handle questions. Jae-won adjusts his tie in the car, not looking at her. They've barely spoken since the knuckle incident. I'm not a prop, she says. You're my wife. In my family's world, that makes you either an asset or a target. I'm trying to keep you as the former. The restaurant is exclusive, expensive, empty except for Jae-won's family in a private room. His father, silver-haired, radiating authority. His mother, elegant, cold-eyed, assessing. His younger sister Minji, surprisingly warm, grinning when she sees Naomi. Appa, you didn't say she was gorgeous. Minji's English is flawless. Sit down, Jae-won says flatly. The dinner is brutal. His father speaks only Korean. Questions filtered through Jae-won's terse translations. Where's your family? What's your background? How did you meet? His mother asks about children. When? How many? Will they be raised Korean? Through it all, Jae-won sits like carved ice. Until his father says something sharp, dismissive, and Jae-won's response comes out like a whip crack. The table goes silent. What did he say? Naomi whispers. Jae-won's hand finds hers under the table. He suggested you were temporary. I explained you're permanent. In detail. But the contract. Fuck the contract. He says it quietly, still looking at his father. Then louder, in English for her benefit. She's my wife. Anyone disrespects her disrespects me. That includes family. His father stands, face purple with rage. His mother follows, scandalized. Minji just beams. About time you grew a spine about something that matters, she says. Welcome to the family, Yinny. You're the best thing that's happened to him. In the car afterward, Jae-won is silent. His hand still holds hers. You didn't have to do that, Naomi says. Yes, I did. Why? It's just a contract. Is it? He finally looks at her, and the naked emotion in his eyes makes her breath catch. Because I haven't thought of it as a contract since week 2. Since I came home and found you reading in the library. You'd curled up in my chair, wearing my sweater because you were cold, completely absorbed in some mystery novel. You looked. He stops. Like you belong there. Like you belong to me. Jae-won, I know. Contract. Temporary. You'll leave when the year's up, take your money, start your life. His voice goes rough. I'm trying to prepare for that. Try to keep my distance. But when my father dismisses you like you're nothing, I can't. He releases her hand abruptly. I'm sorry. This isn't what you signed up for. What if I want it to be? The words escape before she can stop them. He goes absolutely still. Don't say things like that unless you mean them. I'm not sure what I mean yet. Honesty feels like the only option, but I know I listen for you to come home. I know I feel safer when you're there. I know the ice on your knuckles made me want to ask who hurt you, not what you did. I'm not a good man, Naomi. You paid my mother's medical bills before the contract was signed. The lawyer told me. It was already handled when I came to the office. She sees him tense. You made sure I wasn't signing out of pure desperation. That's not a bad man. It's manipulation. It's caring whether I had a real choice. She touches his face, turns him toward her. Stop telling me who you are and let me decide. He kisses her like he's drowning. They stumble into the penthouse, hands urgent, months of tension finally breaking. But at her bedroom door, Jae-won stops. Not like this, he says roughly. Not when we haven't talked about what this means. What does it mean to you? Everything. You mean everything. He presses his forehead to hers. I watched you for 2 months before approaching you. Told myself it was practical, finding the right candidate. But I was obsessed. The way you moved through the world with grace despite carrying so much weight. How you gave kindness freely. I wanted to be someone you'd smile at like you smiled at my aunt. You already are. The contract. We'll figure it out. She kisses him softly. But right now, can we just be honest? No logistics. No strategy. Just us. I'm terrified of you, he admits. Of how much I need you. Of what I'd do if someone tried to take you. Then don't let anyone try. They sleep in her room that night, just holding each other, finally honest about what's growing between them. The threat comes 3 days later. Naomi's shopping in Myeongdong when the car pulls up. 2 men, moving with coordinated precision. One grabs her arm. She fights. Atlanta taught her that. Stops his instep, jerks free. But the second one is already reaching. Then the street erupts. Jae-won's men appear like shadows gaining substance. The kidnapping attempt becomes a 15-second confrontation ending with the 2 men on their knees. By the time Jae-won himself arrives, tired screaming, it's already over. He goes to Naomi first, hands running over her arms, her face, checking for damage with a thoroughness that borders on desperate. I'm fine, she says. Jae-won, He kisses her hard, right there on the street, claiming and reassuring himself simultaneously. Then he turns to the kneeling man, and his voice drops to something absolutely lethal. The Korean he speaks is too fast for Naomi to catch, but she sees the men blanch. Sees Jae-won's second in command, a sharp-eyed man named Hyun-woo, nod once and drag them away. What happens to them? Naomi asks in the car. They'll tell me who sent them. Then they'll deliver a message back. His jaw is tight. This is my fault. Someone found out about you. Decided you were vulnerability to exploit. So what do? I send you somewhere safe. London, maybe. New York. Anywhere I have connections, but you're not actively visible. No. Naomi crosses her arms. Absolutely not. This isn't negotiable. You're right. It's not. I'm not leaving. She twists the black diamond ring on her finger. You want to know why? Because you said you keep your word. Protection was part of the contract. So protect me. But don't ship me away like on cargo. You're not cargo, you're. He stops, something breaking in his expression. You're the only thing in this world that could actually destroy me. Don't you understand that? If they hurt you, I'd burn Seoul to the ground. I'd start a war that would collapse my entire organization. You're not a weakness. You're my line in the sand. Then trust me to stand beside you, not behind you. They stare at each other, whilst clashing. If you stay, he finally says, everything changes. You'll need to know how deep this goes. Meet the people I actually work with. Understand exactly what my world looks like. Then show me. That night, he takes her to a private club in Gangnam. The kind without signs, where entry requires recognition. The room upstairs is full of dangerous men in expensive suits, his captains, his allies, the machinery that runs his empire. Jae-won stands at the head of the table, Naomi beside him. Some of you have questioned my marriage, he says in English, then repeats it in Korean. Seen my wife as foreign. As distraction. Yesterday, someone tried to use her against me. He nods to Hyun-woo, who opens a laptop. Financial records fill the screen, shipping manifests, bank transfers, enough evidence to destroy someone completely. Lee Sang-min ordered the attempt. This goes to the prosecutors unless he's in Singapore within 12 hours. Jae-won's hand finds Naomi's. My wife isn't a weakness. She's my absolute limit. Anyone who threatens her learns I have no boundaries. The room erupts in urgent Korean. Naomi catches enough to understand. This is disproportionate. This starts wars. This is not how business is done. Then business changes, Jae-won says simply. She's non-negotiable. By morning, Lee's in exile. By afternoon, every organization in Seoul understands the new reality. Naomi is untouchable. Your father will hate this, she says that evening. They're on the penthouse balcony, Naomi leaning against his chest, watching the city lights. My father will adapt or retire. Minji's already been running half the legitimate operations anyway. He kisses her temple. I'm done making decisions out of fear. The contract ends in 6 months. I know. His arms tighten around her. I've been counting down, dreading it. Trying to figure out how to convince you to stay without making you feel obligated. Naomi turns in his arms. What if I want to stay? Then I'm writing a new contract. Lifetime terms. Full partnership. In the business, in my life, in everything. That's very romantic. I'm a criminal who's completely obsessed with you. Romance is not my strongest skill. Try anyway. He cups her face in both hands. I love you. I've loved you since I watched you sing to my aunt. Since you got eyes for my knuckles without asking questions. Since you looked at my worst self and chose to see something worth keeping. His voice goes rough. Marry me again. For real this time. Choose this life knowing exactly what it is. Yes, she says simply. To all of it. They marry again 6 months later. Traditional Korean ceremony this time. Naomi in crimson and gold hanbok. Jae-won's grandmother's ring supplemented by a wedding band. His father attends, grudgingly respectful. Minji cries happy tears. Naomi's mother is there via video call, and during a moment of clarity, says, he looks at you like you're his whole world, baby. Because she is, Jae-won says quietly, and means it. 3 years later, Naomi runs a non-profit supporting immigrant workers in Seoul, funded by Jae-won's legitimate businesses, which now outnumber his criminal enterprises. He's slowly transitioning, building legal empire while carefully extracting himself from the dangerous world. Not because she asked, but because he wants a future where loving her doesn't mean constant fear. I'm not afraid, she tells him one morning over coffee. He looks up from his newspaper. Domestic, comfortable, so different from the cold man she married. You should be. I'm still dangerous. You're my husband. The man who learned to cook bibimbap because it's my comfort food. Who reads to my mother on video calls when she doesn't remember me. Who reorganized his entire life around keeping me safe and happy. That doesn't erase what I am. It doesn't need to. I love what you are, all of it. The dangerous parts and the soft parts and the parts you only show me. He pulls her into his lap. These quiet moments his favorite. I was watching you for 2 months before I approached you. Did you know why I finally did it? Your aunt. That was the excuse. He tucks her hair behind her ear. But the real reason? You were crying in your car after a shift. So tired. So alone. And I thought I could fix that. I could make sure she's never alone again. Make sure someone's watching who actually cares. You saved me. No. He kisses her forehead. You saved me. Taught me that power and love aren't the same thing. That I could be both the man Seoul fears and the man you trust. Outside, Seoul glitters with possibility. Inside, they hold each other. Two people who found home in a contract that became so much more. The original agreement sits framed in Jae-won's office. Reminder that the best love stories sometimes start with logistics and end with forever. Naomi learned to accept love instead of just giving it. Jae-won learned that the scariest thing isn't death. It's letting someone matter more than survival. And together, they learned that family isn't the one you're born into. It's the one you choose when you're finally brave enough to be honest. That's where their story transforms into decades of partnership, challenge, devotion, and the kind of love that rewrites all the rules. On their 5th anniversary, Jae-won comes home with a jewelry box. What's this? Naomi asks. New contract. He opens it to reveal a diamond bracelet. Terms, forever. Conditions, unconditional. Termination clause, none. Benefits, everything I am is yours. That's a terrible contract. Completely one-sided. Then it matches the original. I got everything. You got a man who'll love you until his last breath. He fastens it around her wrist. Still think he got the better deal? She kisses him, soft and sure. Best deal I ever made. And she means it. Because sometimes the most binding contracts are the ones written on hearts instead of paper, signed with trust instead of ink, and honored every single day by choice.